Hmm. Hello, dear all. Good morning, everyone. Let me see the students have they connected to me or not. Good morning, Nisha. Very good morning. Hello, good morning, Suraj. How are you, dear? Very good morning, Pinky. Anil, very good morning. So, guys, should I start the session now? Manan Kaur, very good morning, dear. Good morning, everyone. So, let's start the session now. I just would like to begin with the grammar and vocabulary and other important aspects of writing task 1. In today's video, I would emphasize only on task 1 of academic series. So the candidates who are having problem in the writing task 1, so please focus on these things, and the candidate who are very good in the task 1, so please focus because you might also get chance to learn something new. So in this video, I'll be talking about all the perspectives of writing task 1. So now let's focus on the first thing, how grammar and vocabulary improve your score for IELTS writing task 1. So grammar and vocabulary plays a pivotal role both in writing task 1 and 2. Some of the tips of this task would also help you in both writing task 1 in 2 as well as in the speaking module, but some of the variations does matter. So what I would advise you today, just keep your mind only on writing task 1. So writing task 1, there are the 4 things, right? There are the 4 things actually that you must need to understand of your writing task, that how it is being marked, right? So first you need to understand how the writing is being marked. That is the one of the most important thing, because if you are writing regularly, if I would provide you only the sample answers, dear, sample answers can only help you to understand the topic, but the sample answers would not let you get chance to understand it, what exactly you need to do to get this much score. because your minimum target should be of 7 band. If you can do plus of more than this one, it's very good, but at least your level should be, you should expect that I must have 7 band score in writing. So what are the criteria? So four things are there which are being marked. So the first is grammatical range and accuracy. I will explain each and every item to you with the complete detail. Lot of videos we watch about grammatical range and accuracy, task achievement, lexical resource, coherence and cohesion. But in this video, I would explain each and everything very clearly to every candidate that they can understand the things in a well way. So now let's look at first is the grammatical range and accuracy. Second, task achievement, lexical resource and coherence and cohesion. So what is the role of grammatical range and accuracy? What is the role of task achievement? What is the role of lexical resource? And what is the role of coherence and cohesion, right? I would explain you everything with complete detail. So first I just would like to tell you each item contains 25% weightage. 25% score you get of grammatical range and accuracy, 25% you get for task achievement, 25% you get for lexical resource, and 25% you get for coherence and cohesion. So now let's see what is grammatical range and accuracy. What is GRA? Grammatical and range and accuracy. As I told you, grammatical range and accuracy consists 25% of total band. So you must need to understand what is grammatical range and accuracy in task 1. We are talking about writing task 1. So grammatical range and accuracy is there. So what is grammatical range and accuracy? It means how good is your grammar to increase your score for GRA. Means how strong you are in grammar to increase your score in grammatical range and accuracy, right? So what does it mean? Use a wide range of grammatical structures and tenses. It means that you should have variety of sentence formations, right? You must write compound complex sentence, right? Some of the conditional sentences are required in order to get good band score. So use a wide range of grammatical structures and tenses. Next is manage punctuation. Punctuation marks are very important in IELTS writing, or although if you are writing something apart from IELTS, then punctuation marks are quite necessary. If you are not having punctuation marks knowledge, of course you would lose score, especially in task 1 and 2. What is the meaning of punctuation mark? Punctuation marks are the pauses. In simple language I'm telling you, as you talk about speaking module, in speaking module we take pauses, so pauses works as a punctuation mark. Similarly in writing, punctuation marks are the pauses, right? So what are the punctuation marks? Comma, inverted, forward slash. So these are the punctuation marks. So I'll tell you how to use punctuation marks and to what extent you should use punctuation marks. There are many candidates actually, they use more punctuation marks, more linking words, so that's the thing they do. Apart from this, I will tell you in grammatical range and accuracy how to avoid errors in sentence, right? So normally we commit mistakes in errors in sentences. So if the errors are there in sentences, so you need to lower down the errors, right? So if you would lower down the errors, of course the errors would, if you would commit low errors, score would be high. If the high range of errors are there in the writing, certainly there would be low score, right? So you must need to work on four things. So that is the first, how good you are in the grammar, grammatical structures and tenses, manage punctuations, avoid errors in sentences. In coming further for the next 4 days, I'd be tuning only on the task 1 and the rest of days we will work for writing task 2. So I'll tell you each and everything very clearly and efficiently. That will definitely help you to improve your band scores. So now let's look at task achievement, right? Task achievement also consists 25% of total band score. So what is the meaning of task achievement? Normally we start like with the grammatical range and accuracy, then the task achievement is there. So you must need to understand here what is task achievement. Task achievement is how well you answer the question, how well you answer the question, means how good you answer the question, have you answered the question in a well way. That is the meaning of task achievement. So task achievement, second thing is present the information accurately. Whatever the information are presented to you, so it means what, have you presented that information in a well accurate way. That is the present the information accurately. Third is answer all the parts of the task. Have I answered everything of the task 1? As in task 1, you see, we got the two things, x-axis, y-axis, right? We get the percentage, we get the numbers, we get the fractions, we get years, we get different items. Like let's take an example. If you are talking about, if it is about car, it can be about manufacturing, it can be about any other unit. So have I covered every type, right? Let's take an example. There are, if you are writing a bar graph, so in bar graph there are, let's take an example, 4 country. So let's take an example, India, Australia, Canada, USA, UK. So what does it mean? Answer all parts of the question. Have I answered all these countries information? That it means, right? Have I answered the information of all these nations? So this means like answer all the parts of the question. Nisha Broy, you have letter in writing task 1. My dear, I would be containing, the next video would also contain the aspects of writing task 1, but the way I'm telling you now, so all these things are also the part of writing task 1 of letter as well. So letter also consists the same thing. There are the few things which are exceptional in writing letter, but the marking criteria for the letter and for task 1 of academic remains quite same. There are rarely, I can say very few differences are there, right? So just keep watching please, this will help you. So now let's continue. Provide a clear overview. You need to provide a clear overview. Means whatever the information you are having, you must need to emphasize on the clear overview of the presented information. If it is about any graph, you need to present its overview. If it is letter, you need to explain. Let's take an example. If the letter is about formal, use some formal languages, right? If it's informal, use the informal language. So it provides a clear overview of the task. Next is there, highlight the key features in detail with the data in academic task 1. In academic task 1, of course, you need data, you need to present the data with correct information. But if you are writing a letter, so you must need to highlight the features and supporting details, right? The features and supporting detail in the writing task 1 of letter, we get about any park or something, so you must need to emphasize in all those sorts of things. But in writing task 1, you need to emphasize on all features and supporting details of the writing 1. So now let's look at the lexical resource. What does mean lexical resource? Lexical resource means how good is your vocabulary, means how proficient are you in using vocabulary. That is the meaning of lexical resource. Lexical resource matters a lot of your writing. It also consists 25% of your band weightage in IELTS marking criteria. So use a wide range of vocabulary. Use a wide range of vocabulary means you should have good stock of vocabulary. But in this scenario, I would like to advise you one thing. If you are aiming 7 plus, just trust me, dear, you need to work very little on vocabulary. You can easily achieve this much of score. Still, the lexical resource is important, but there are the few words that you might know that can help you to boost up your score till to the 7 band score. Next is use less common lexical items. This is one of the most important. This is one of the most important. You have to focus on this area first. I'm just like circling this one. This is one of the most important where we lose mark in the writing lexical resource, right? In both letter and in the writing task one, normally student use the very common words, right? So if you are using the very common words both in letters and in the writing task one of academic series, definitely you will lose marks. You would not get that much proficient marks. Let's take an example. The percentage of XYZ has increased. The percentage of XYZ has increased. Now the word is increased, right? So what else I can say? This is a common phrase, increased, right? So the percentage of XYZ has been accelerated, has been rocketed, right? So what is rocketed and accelerated? This is less common, right? So use less common lexical items that will help you to boost up your score in the writing. So avoid errors in spelling and word formation. This is again one of the most important key of success in IELTS writing. In IELTS writing, it is indeed very necessary for the candidates to focus on spellings and word formations. If you are focusing on if you're not focusing, sorry, on spellings and word formations, definitely we will lose score. Definitely we will lose score, right? So guy, like Veer Gosan, definitely I would talk about paraphrase. Just wait a while, please. I will cover everything of task one. You can ask me question at the end of the series. Please keep watching. I'll tell you everything, my dear friend. I will explain you everything. I won't leave even a single thing of writing module task one, right? I'll be covering up everything. So let's continue. Avoid error in spellings and in the word formation. Some of the student, they use word formations, right? Still, like if it is a past form is required, you are writing first form, right? If the past participle is required, you are using a second form or ing form. So you must need to focus on certain criterias, that should I need to work over the word formations. So in order to correct the word formation, you need to read the title of the question. If it is in the past, go subject to the past forms. If it is about present year, so talk about the present year. If it is about future, so use the future formation words. So that are the definitely required. The next is coherence and cohesion, so that's also for the 25%. So that's also for the 25%. So what is the meaning of coherence and cohesion? The meaning of coherence and cohesion is very simple, right? So how well is your text structured, right? So text structure is very important. This is called coherence and cohesion. Veer Gosain, this is what I was talking about here. So this is your answer. Man is paraphrasing, right? So paraphrasing is one of the most important key which help you to get good band score both in writing task 1 and in the 2, as well as in the letter. You need to paraphrase everything. If you are just copying the words of the examiner, you would lose marks. So the next is there, make sure that each para has central idea. Central idea, what does it mean? every paragraph has a central idea. It has a clear cut idea that you need to get, right? So you need to work on each paragraph central idea. Means if you are writing any paragraph, there must be an idea, accurate idea. Let's take an example. First paragraph, you are talking about India. In first paragraph you are talking about India, Australia and Canada. So in the second paragraph you are talking about USA and UK. So USA and UK is the central idea. UK and USA is the central idea of the paragraph. So similarly, each paragraph should have the same sense of ideas. Next is there linking words and cohesive devices. This is again an important point to understand. Lot of students use more linking words and more cohesive device. Some use less cohesive device, more linking words. So in this video, I would explain you what numbers of linking words and cohesive devices are required. I'll explain you everything. Dear Veer Gosain, thesis statement is not there in the writing task 1. Thesis statement is not here. Thesis statement you will study in the writing task 2. So let's continue with the task 1. So what is the linking words and cohesive devices is, let's take an example. Firstly, in contrast, thus, in my opinion, the sum, or up to, etc. So this is called coherence and cohesion. So further is there IELTS writing score calculation. Dear, you must need to understand how would I get marks in IELTS writing, because projection should be clear. Only then you can work efficiently over your skills, right? You must need to understand your target first. If you have been targeting 7, you need to understand what should I do for GRA, what should I do for task achievement, what should I do for lexical resource, what should I do for coherence and cohesion, because each contains 25%. So if the 25% marks are there for each item, so then how do I need to work for each item to get a good band score? So let's take an example over here. Each of these 4 criteria receives a score from 0 to 9 points. You are awarded band score from 0 to 9 band. After that, an arithmetic mean is calculated to determine the task total score. So arithmetic formulas they use to give you score. So how does it work? Let's understand that. For example, if the task 1, I'm talking about task 1, follows, you get the following marks in the writing task 1. For the task achievement, let's take an example, you got 6. Coherence and cohesion, let's take example 7.5. Lexical resource, let's take an example 7 band score. Grammatical range and accuracy, let's talk about 7.5 band score. So then the total of task achievement 6, coherence and cohesion 7.5, lexical resource 7, grammatical range and accuracy is 7. So now then the score of 6, 7, 7, 7.5, right? We need to divide it by the 4, then it would come the score, final score would be 7, right? Now the question comes, sir, how would we evaluate the score? How can I assess my writing on my own? How can I see, how can I identify my task achievement? Is it for 6 band, is it for 7 band, is it for 8 band, is it for 9 band, or is it for 5 bands? How do I need to analyze it? Dear, in my next videos I will explain you how does it work and how you can analyze all these things at your own level. I will explain you everything in a well detailed manner. So let's see further. IELTS writing total score. So how the IELTS writing total score is being marked? So note down, note that, like in writing task 2, right? In writing task 2, sorry, In writing task 2, weight is 2 times more than the writing task 1. You must need to understand writing task 2 band is the weightage is more than 2 times than the writing task 1. So it does not mean, dear, if the writing task 1 consists lower score as compared to writing task 2, you would work less on writing task 1. And in my experience, I have been training students since 2009. Since that time to till date, I have been experiencing one thing. Although I insist a lot in my class as well as in any seminars or the webinars that I conduct or the conferences that I attend, I usually advise to the students to work on more on writing task 1, because students usually feel very confident about the writing task 1, although their scoring level is not that much confident. In their own experience, it might be that they have been performing very nicely in writing task 1. Indeed, you know what happens with the students. Sometimes those who are scoring well in the writing task 2 or well in the writing module, but in the final exam they get less score. So what the reason? So why did they get the less score? So the reason simple is there, they might not have worked hard over their writing. So you need to emphasize on writing task 1. Do not take it easy, right, and carefree. So let's continue with this clip now. Note down writing task 2 weight is 2 times more than the writing task 1. So if you get 8 for writing task 2 and 6.5 for the writing task 1, so the total score would be 8 and 2/3 of the IELTS writing task 2 and 1/3 of the writing task 1, 6.5. Then you need to divide it by the 3, then the final score would be 7.5. So okay, Anil Kumar, please keep the speed low. Okay, dear, thank you. I will try my level. Now let's see academic writing task 1. Academic writing task 1, you need to understand. In this task, you will be presented with a graph, table, chart, diagram. As I told you yesterday as well, that graph contains table, charts and diagrams. So table, charts and diagrams are there. Same explains or some slowly explain. Okay, dear, I'm so sorry for explaining you fastly. I will explain you now very slowly. Don't worry about it. So please, sorry for that. So now let's see. In this task, you will be presented with a graph, table, chart or a diagram. So you can be have, I explained you yesterday as well, if it is given in the circle with the slices, then it is pie chart. If it is in the square and with the boxes, it is table. I think you people all are aware, but still it's my duty to explain you. So this is the bar graph. Bar graph has two types. This is vertical and this is horizontal one. And the next is there, if it is given something like this, then it is a line graph. If it is been something like this, then it is a process graph. So you need to work something over it, right? So now let's see. The students, please tell, is the speed is okay with you now? Should I speak more slowly or are you okay with it? Please tell me, then I move to the next clip. Please tell me about the speed. Are you okay with it? Should I speak more slowly or should I continue with the same ratio that I'm speaking right now? Please tell. I'll move to the next clip then. Now, okay, thank you. Now let's see how to answer academic IELTS academic writing task 1. How do you need to answer? This is very important to understand. So first, what is your duty? First, analyze the graph. This is the first step that you must do. no matter if it is bar graph, if it is bar graph, line graph, and if it is I can talk about like pie chart. So you must need to analyze the graph first, right? So the first step you should do, that is to analyze the graph in a well proper way. So firstly you need to get an overview of the graph, chart, or the diagram you will describe. So first you need to understand, you need to get an overview. How do you need to get an overview? Yes, Anil, we must need to consider every student if they are the beginner. So I really respect them a lot. I respect all of you. If they have not been understanding, so it's my duty to make understand everyone, no matter how good someone is in understanding and how like slow someone is in understanding. So I give equal weightage to my every student. So thank you. Now let's continue with the module. So firstly you need to get an overview of the graph, chart, diagram you describe. So what does it mean? It means you need to identify its final trend. If it is a line graph, you need to understand, you need to observe which ratio, which static of that line has increased slowly, fastly, averagely, right? If it is a bar graph, you need to see the figure which is the maximum, which is the, like, you can talk about like majority, minority, and the average. If it is any chart like pie chart is there, so you need to see the slices which contains the higher score, the slices which contains the higher percentage. So the slices which contains the higher percentage, you need to make an overview of those given slices which contains the higher things, right? So we decide the overview on two factors, right? Two factors we identify the overview. We identify the overview on the maximum and on the minimum, right? On the maximum plus and on the minimum minus, right? So highest and lowest, right? So these are the two things which are required in the overview. So if you have stated the overview, so do not write the overview again in the conclusion, because overview means also the summary. So look for general trends, changes, and key features to get an idea how the structure of the information, right? So that I already explained you. So you need to identify the journal trend, changes, and the key features. So journal trend, is it fast trend, slow trend? If it is dramatic, slower, significant, right, average. So you need to understand all these sorts of things, or if the changes are there, right? So let's take an example. You are having a diagram. So in usually diagram are presented with the changes. So you need to identify the changes there. So what are the major changes and what are the minor changes, you need to identify, and rest of others you need to find the key features. Key features are, means again, you need to find out the main things, right? The main trends or the main changes, so that are called the key features, to get an idea of how you will structure the information, means how would you present the information that you need to keep in that. Next is there, now let's talk about the example I just presented to you. For, you can note down some trends. How do you need to note down the trend? That is the most important, right? So trends are there. We have, let's take an example, transport performances among young people by different countries. So the nations are Great Britain, USA, Germany, France, right? So we are having the three modes of transport: car, motorbike, and bicycles, right? So first, where you exactly need to work, you need to focus on both the things: Great Britain, USA, Germany, and France, along with cars, bikes, and bicycles, motorcycles, sorry. You also need to focus on the given percentage as well. So let's see. Car was the most popular. Car was the most popular. Dear friends, it is not necessary for you to write the percentage, fraction, or the number every time. Your words, the numbers, fractions, or the percentage, if you are writing, so apart from the numbers, percentages, and the fractions. What else we can use? So you can use all these sorts of phrases. So that is, the car was the most popular type of transport in all countries except Germany, right? So this you can use as an overview, because Germany has the less number of cars, more bicycles are there. So this is the way you will get. In Great Britain and USA, there are big differences between percentages of people who choose some kind of transport, right? So in USA and Great Britain, in USA and Great Britain is here, Great Britain is here, and the USA is here. So there is a great, means the major differences are there. So in the Great Britain, more people prefer car, less prefer bicycles, and least prefer motorcycles. Similarly, in the USA, more people prefer cars, and less, as compared to cars, less are with the motorcycles, and least are with the bicycle. So similarly is there. So in the Great Britain, USA, there are big differences between percentage of people who choose some kind of transport. Now let's see in Germany. In Germany, percentages of people who choose car and bicycles are roughly the same. Roughly the same. What does it mean? It's quite same, right? So let's look at the Germany. So we are having a Germany, and this is for the bicycle, and this is for the car. So there is a least difference because it's 40 and it's less than 50, so it's around 45. So we can, instead of writing 45, we can write like roughly the same, right? Next is in France, percentages of people who choose motorcycles and bicycles are nearly equal. It's nearly equal. In this is France, dear. And if you talk about like France, like people, percentages of people who choose motorcycles and bicycles are nearly the same. So it's the nearly the same are there, sir, with the motorcycles and with the uh, bicycles, right? So the next is there, the motorcycle was least popular. Least popular means very less popular, right? Type of transport in all countries except the USA. In the USA, motorcycle was actually had a good average, so you can see over here, but in rest of other country it was least popular. Next is their overall, car is the most chosen transport, bicycle is on the second place, and motor bicycle is the least chosen transport. This is one of the most easiest way to over to get an overview of your graph, right? So what is overall, car is the most chosen, bicycle, so second place, what is motor bicycle, sorry, car is the most, bicycle is the second, and motor bicycle is the least one, right? Motor bicycle is the least one. So now the next thing you must need to understand, how grammar works. How can I work over the maximum word? How can I learn all these words? So dear friend, in order to learn all these sorts of things, it is very sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. So I just need go back to that clip. I'm so sorry for that. So now let's see over here. So now let's continue how to maximize score, means how you can get good band score, how you can get 7 band score. Dear, my at least target to see all of you with the 7 plus band score. My at least target is 7 plus band score, and getting 7 plus band score in IELTS writing is not a rocket science. It's very easy, it's very easy. Just trust me. You need to work on few things that can easily get you 7 band score, and I would not give you a lollipop that learn these few words, you will get 7 bands. No, there is no shortcut of success. Not only in IELTS, in other aspects of life as well, you need to work efficiently and correctly and with patience and with hard and smart labor, right? So only then you can get score. So now let's look at how to maximize score. Checking your work at the end or is really important. Once you are writing anything, even though in your class as well, first as you get the 20 minutes, right, to write task 1. So first of all, your try must be to finish this task within the 15 minutes. So how can you finish this in the 15 minutes? I'm having a very good strategy for you. First of all, spend at least 3 minutes on planning at the beginning of your writing task, right? Spend 3 minutes. Understand the trend, understand the key feature, understand the main information, understand the maximum things, right? The percentage which are the maximums, right? So understand all those sorts of things. So spend 3 minutes first on the writing task 1 and write. Rest you are having 12 minutes. Dear friend, 12 minutes are very more than enough to write 150 words. At least 150 words are required. So in my experience, 12 minutes are more than sufficient, I can say. So how you can write this task in 12 minutes? You must need to practice this all in your regular class. You need to develop your habit. No teacher can do anything. This is the one case that you need to do from your own level. So first you need to work 3 minutes on planning of your task and then write it in the 12 minutes. At the end of the task you will get 5 minutes. So in the 5 minutes read everything very correctly. You need to check everything correctly. So what you think, what sorts of things you need to check, right? That is the most important. What things you need to check, so you can make this process more efficient. You can make this process more efficient by checking your work when you practice and writing down for your 5 common mistakes. I'll tell you what are the 4 to 5 common mistakes that you commit in your writing task 1. How you can overcome from all those sorts of things. So now let's look at the things. So after a while you will get to know more common mistakes and fix them correct quickly, right? So once you take a close look whatever you have written, so once you have written the information, afterwards you need to work over your common mistakes. How can I identify mistakes? Identifying mistakes is very easy. It's a very easy process that you can identify the things in a well correct way. So science specs virtuality, thank you. So next is there must read the instructions carefully. This is the important thing that you must need to identify. So must read the instructions carefully. Some of the students do not read the instructions and they start to write the essay or their task, so they lose their band score. So what I advise to the student is to read the instructions carefully. Take few minutes to read the question a few times. Means you need to repeat it at least 2 to 3 times. Few times means 2 to 3 times you need to read the question and really understand what it is asking you to do. You need to understand what exactly it's expecting from me to write it, right, to report it. So practice will also help you familiarize yourself with the different types of task 1 question and save your time in the exam. So you every day in your regular classes you need to perform. Guys, I'm just like stopping you all of you for 1 minute. Kindly do not mind if you think you can get 7 plus band score by writing one task 1 in your regular day. Just forget it. It will take huge time. There are the 5 type of graph you get, right? So likewise, pie chart, line graph, bar graph, table, or picture or process, right? And those who are in the general training, they write, they normally get three type of letters: formal, informal, and semi-formal. So what exactly you need to do? So the candidates who are appearing for the academic writing task 1, you need to write all these types just in a one day. Means you need to write 5 graphs in a day. 5 graphs will take only 120 minutes. Sorry, it's like 80 minutes, if I'd say, right? So it will take only the few, like it will take like for you the 80 minutes time, and giving 80 minutes to yourself for the development, that is quite easy, dear. If a one day you will practice the 5 graphs, so see, in 30 days you would be practicing more than, like, the practice you will do for in one day, right? The same practice you are going to do in the next 5 days, right? So it will save your time, it will develop your things, and you can view, you can write things very analytically, right? So I would strongly advise you to write 5 graphs, and those who are in the journal training, so I would advise to write all three types of your letter, right? So next is there, focus on the main trends. So you need to focus on the main trends of the given information, because describing everything is going to be very difficult for you. So you must need to focus on the main trends. Then decide your grammar formation. It is very important to decide your grammar formation. If your grammar is not that much good, right, so of course you will again lose marks. So focus on the lexical resource, means focus on the vocabulary. It is very important, because vocabulary trends is, you can talk about task achievement. Grammar informations means grammatical range and accuracy. Lexical resource, vocabulary, and what else is coherence and cohesion, so you can work over that as well. So now the next is must paraphrase the question. This is one of the most important point to understand, right? You must need to paraphrase the question. Paraphrasing is very necessary for the student. If you are not paraphrasing the things, then you will lose score, right? Because if you are copying the same words of the examiner, you are not paraphrasing anything, so of course you will lose marks, right? So what I say to the student, if you copy the words of the given question, then you will lose marks. So please do not copy the words of the question. Therefore, it is highly recommended to all to paraphrase the given question and try your level best to avoid using the same words of the question. I would suggest you do not copy the words of the question, paraphrase the question, then write it, right? So to paraphrase, simply use synonyms to change keywords. You need to read the synonyms. You should have good stock of vocabulary and change your given question, right? So paraphrasing is very important. If you do not have the synonyms, right, how can you paraphrase? That is again a unique technique. I'll tell you in coming days. We would be working for the next, we are having 12 days more to work over it. 11 days, sorry, this is our day second. So I will tell you everything, how you can paraphrase anything without using synonym. So now let's see example for your reference of paraphrasing, right? Paraphrase, how do you need to paraphrase? So example is there for you. So now let's look at their example for your reference is there. The pie chart shows the amount of money that is money that a children's, right, charity located in the USA spent and received in 1 year. Means, what does it mean? The chart shows the amount of money that a children's charity located in USA spent and received in 1 year. In which year? 2016. So how I paraphrase this? The the pie chart show, the pie charts show the amount of revenue. The amount of revenue means this is the spent, right? Sorry, like received, right? So that is the revenue. And expenditure, so expenditure means spent and received means revenue, right? So expenditure is spent and revenue is received is revenue in 2016 for a charity in the USA. This is paraphrasing. This is the way of paraphrasing, right? The charts, the pie charts show the amount of revenue, right? The amount of revenue and expenditure in 2016 for children in the children's charity in the USA. So what changes we did? The pie charts, we use the S over here, so like we just deducted this one. The amount, we kept the same phrase for here. Revenue, first we had the word spent and then the received, but we changed the case. First we use the word received as a kind of in replacement of revenue, and the word spent in the replacement of expenditure in 2016 for a charity in the USA, children's charity in the USA. So now you can see the meaning is not changed, but the formation has been changed. The meaning remains quite same, but the formation has not been changed, right? If the formation has not been changed, so of course it's gonna to work a lot for your writing. So now use discourse marker. Discourse markers are very important. You need to understand what are the discourse markers in writing task 1. Dear, in order to get good band score, it is necessary for us to understand everything, right? If you would not understand how the marking is there, how the exam is being marked, what exactly do I need to do to get good band score, how can I expect good band score? It is very necessary to understand. That's why I'm explaining you all these things. In further videos I'll be working on each type of graph, but it is my duty to explain you everything very clearly that I've been doing up. So what are discourse markers? When answering the question, should use discourse markers to show your efficiency of your writing. So you need to use the discourse markers to show your efficiency of writing, that how efficient are you in the writing module. So discourse markers or signposts are sometimes called the words that paraphrase makes it easier to identify the changes of directions and perspectives in a conversation, right? In speaking module as well, it works a lot, right? Discourse markers means signpost that are sometimes called, right? Sometimes we call them signpost as well. We also call them discourse marker, are the words or phrases. These are the words or phrases that make it easier to identify, right? It helps the examiner to identify your attitude of writing and changes of direction. If you have changed something, the examiner will easily understand and the perspective of a conversation, right? So it will identify the things very clearly. Most people who are least in intermediate level of English language already know how to use basic signposts, right? So but the student who are lower than the intermediate level, they must need to understand what are the signposts and how do I need to use. So the signpost examples are there at the down. The graph, the table, pie chart shows the most significant change is the most significant change it. So these are the discourse markers. So you need to work over these discourse markers. Another noticeable change or trend is overall. In next videos I'll share the complete discourse markers with all of you. So in the further is spend time organizing and planning your answer, right? So you need to spend time and organizing and planning your answers over there. It is absolutely necessary for the students to plan their writing first before writing their final answer, right? You must need to work over yourself, right, in order to understand your writing. So like it is absolutely necessary for the students to plan their writing first before write final answer, right? It's necessary. First you should plan and then final you should write it. What makes a big difference between the one who score high and the low? What is the difference? If there are 10 candidates in your class appeared for exam. 5 scored 7 and 5 scored 6. What is the difference? These 5 has the major difference. Those who got the 7 band, they were very good in explaining their planning and organizing. So those who got 6 band score, they had less planning and organizing, right? So planning and organizing is very important. So now for many candidates it might be the wastage of time, but even though it would give you a chance to give a clear coherent answer of your writing. Dear, some students consider if I would start to make a plan first before to write final answer, then I would be wasting my time. I must write directly to my answer sheet before planning it, because if I would plan over here, I would lose marks, I would lose time. So it is indeed not the wastage of time. In my experience, it is the great usage of time. It is a quality time actually, and it you can cover it your topic within the time limit if you would plan it. If you would not plan it, of course you would not be able to cover up the topic in the 60 minutes time. So for regular practice you must need to write different type of questions, and you must use different structure for different articles of task 1. Every day you need to work on all these things. So planning is very necessary before you start to write, and regularly you need to work on your writing task. Further, how you should be like planning and organizing, how you should be your planning, how your should be sorry how should be this is you extra is here. How should be your planning and organization, right? Means how do you need to plan it? So first thing what you need to do, paraphrase the question. In paragraph 1, what you need to do, paraphrase the question. Second paragraph, write an overview. You need to write your overview. Third paragraph, describe the main features with the complete detail. You need to explain every detail with the complete explanation. Paragraph 4, describe the another main features accurately and logically in detail. You need to explain it accurately and logically with a complete detail. And when you have this structure in your mind, you will be able to plan an effective answer quickly and easily. If you have structures in your mind, if you are aware what exactly do I need to use in my do I need to do in my writing, of course dear, you would be very quite able to use your structure and to explain your topic in a well way. So planning is very necessary. Next is there, must consider, you like must consider which tense are you going to use. This is again an important point to understand what tense is required. So it is highly recommended to all the students, kindly focus on the tenses which they are going to use in the writing task 1. So some of the students actually are very habitual to write the writing task 1 in simple present. It is been actually this, it's not their mistake, it's been guided to by their sorry trainers. So kindly do not decide that I must need to write my topic in the simple present tense. When you write task 1 only in the present tense, but you must consider in which form the data has been presented to you. If the data has been presented to you in the past, right, use the past form. If it is in the present, use the present form, and if it is about future, use the future form there, right? So if the data has been given to you in the past, future, then you must need to change your tenses accordingly. You need to work over your tenses accordingly, subject to that. Next is there, don'ts of writing task 1 means what should you avoid, things you must not do in the writing task 1 that lower your score, the things you must not do. So what you must avoid while writing, what should you avoid? So the first thing, this is the point to understand, avoid using the same words for the percentage and the number. Please avoid using the same words for the percentage and numbers. If you are using percentage, use fractions. If you are using numbers, use percentage. I'll tell you, there are three things. The first is percentage, second numbers, and third is fraction. So in my next video, I'll tell you how can you change percentage into numbers, how can you change numbers into the fractions, how can you change fractions into the numbers, and how can you change fractions into the percentage. Means from the percentage to numbers, numbers to fraction, from fractions to numbers, and fractions to percentage, right? I'll tell you conversion of all these things in my next coming videos. So for percentages, use words like large, small, higher, lower, right? Percentage of, right? For the percentage. For the numbers like many, more, most, few, and fewer. So do not use, for an example, if there are 80% people are in XYZ category. For an example, 80% people are interested in marketing field. 80% people are interested in marketing field. Let's take an example. It is a pie chart, suppose. So 80% people are interested in marketing field. So how can you answer this in the percentage, right? 80% is there. So how can I use the word like the percentage? How can I use it in the words? So you can talk about a very large majority. A very large majority is interested in marketing field. A very large majority is 80%. If it is more than that, right? If it is 85%, extremely large, you can talk about community is interested in marketing field. Extremely large, uh, you can talk about community is interested in marketing field. So that is the way of using numbers and the fractions there. So similarly in the other videos I'll explain you the same things. So next, do not give your opinion or speculate it, right? So your opinion is not required in the writing task 1. Your opinion is required in the writing task 2, as this is not a discursive essay. So it is required in the discursive essay. If you are writing a discursive essay, so you need to speculate your opinion. So it is, your opinion is not required in the writing task 1. So kindly do not speculate your personal opinion in writing task 1, as this is not a discursive essay. Further is there, discursive essay requires your personal opinion. Do not add your personal opinion in writing task 1, right? So your personal opinion is not required. In writing task 1, you should write only what is presented in the graph or in the diagram. You must need to emphasize only on the things which are presented there. Do not spend your time or do not write anything extra more than what is presented to you. If you would write your personal opinion in writing task 1, you will definitely lose marks. So please avoid this in the writing task 1. So your opinion is not required. So kindly do not write your personal opinion. For an example, if the habits are there, right? So let's take an example. 6% girls, this is the lowest percentage, and 6% girls participated in cricket, right? So if I would say, in my opinion, they are the females, that's why they are they are least interested in cricket. So this is a personal opinion, right? So personal opinion is not required. Although I do not make differences between male and female, I give equal respect to everyone, but I'm just taken it just to give you an example, right? Kindly don't mind it. So like if they are the females, that's why they preferred 6%. So this is a personal opinion. Do not give your personal opinion in the writing task 1. Kindly do not speculate the information. This is not a discursive essay. You can use all these strong opinions in the writing task 2. Next is there, do not copy the words from the question or the information in the diagram. So please avoid using the words from the questions. So if you don't like, if you do this right, examiner will not mark these words, and it is therefore like writing nothing at all, right? You will not get good marks, means you would lose marks definitely if you are copying the same words, or depends on the examiner, he might not even mark you nothing for that. So to overcome this, familiarize yourself with the common vocabulary used in IELTS writing part 1, and then learn synonyms for the information. Use synonyms when practicing writing in your regular habits. So apart from it, I would also guide you how we can write, paraphrase anything without using synonyms, how we can avoid using the same words which are presented in the information. And moreover, if you have written some word in the writing task 1 or in the 2 as well as in the speaking module, so kindly keep this in your mind. So for the following sentence, kindly do not use the same word, right? So see the above example of how I used to paraphrase a synonym of the question is there. So now, like, do not use overuse linking words and signposting language, right? Many candidates use lot of linking words and signposting. After every 2-3 sentence they write more than this, moreover, besides this, apart from this, besides this, moreover, apart from this, furthermore, accordingly. Kindly do not use more than that, right? Because there is a limit of using linking words and signposting language. It is advised to the students not to use more linking words or signposting language, although it is required to write a balanced task. However, if you will, if you would use linking words and signposting language more frequently, eventually you will lose score. They should be used in limited, as it is a popular saying, uh, excess of everything is bad. Similarly, so there should be a good blend of using signposting and linking words. So I'll tell you what numbers are required. So using more than like 7 or 8 signpost and linking words, then it looks like you are trying to insert them in the writing without thinking. If you are writing them without thinking, you will lose marks. So if you are using them appropriately or not, right? So you need to work on yourself, that are you using it appropriately or not. Next is, don't confusing have confusing language, means your handwriting should not be messy. Some students are not having that much of good handwriting, so please work over your handwriting. Although your handwriting matters, must be legible. If you are writing something messy, then it would create problem for the examiner to understand your written words. So you need to work over it actually. So eventually the examiner will not be able to give you a good marks, right, for the words that they can't read. So therefore it is highly advised to the candidates to work over their handwriting. If the student who are not good in the handwriting, kindly work regularly over yourself, and you will get definitely chance to cover up, to overcome from this problem. If you are having messy handwriting, you must need to work over it. Although handwriting is not the part of band marking criteria, so but it must be taken into account by the students in order to get good band score. So if you are willing to get good band score, write your handwriting clearly as much as you can. And if you have in this video, I will like to tell you, let's take an example. I was supposed to write the word understand, and I committed a mistake. Normally students are habitual to underline the word something like this, right? So they cut the word. Dear, you are allowed it to erase and rewrite. You are having eraser, you are writing with the pencil, so kindly erase the word and rewrite it, right? So do not cross something like this. So it is not advised, it is counted as a mistake. So please try not to commit such kind of silly mistake. Do not use informal language. This is the most important. Informal language must be avoided. Some students use informal language now for their writing module. So there are the two languages actually. The one is formal, right? Formal and the informal, right? If you are writing formal language, you will get good band score. If you are writing informal language, you will lose score. Remember, this is an academic essay and you are expected to write in that style, right? In academic it is necessary, but of course in journal training, right, of IELTS, we can write some of the informal words if it is an informal letter, or if it is a semi-formal letter, still we can use informal words, but it must be avoided in academic module. So avoid phrasal verbs, slangs, and colonial language must be avoided there. Do not use the words if you are not sure about the grammatical accuracy. If you are not sure about the grammatical accuracy, how correct they are for the grammar, so kindly do not use. So must avoid words which are used in films, movies, because generally they tend to be more informal many a times, right? So a lot of time it happens the words that we watch in the movies or in the films, right? So we normally use those words there. So please avoid this scenario there. So because if you have been using these words there, it can create a trouble for you to score good in writing. So I will take very less time to explain you, because some of the candidates are leaving actually, so I'll just finish it very soon. So don't get panic. So some candidates open up the exam paper, see something they know nothing about, then they say they get panic. Oh my god, I never did this topic. Oh, what to do, I'm very stuck with this. I never did diagram in my complete IELTS course. I did only the picture graph 4 times, and in my exam I got the picture graph unluckily. I'm having a very bad luck. I will lose marks. Kindly do not pretend something like this. You are genius. You are having supreme powers to control everything, right? So kindly do not underestimate yourself. Be confident in your exam. Don't get panic, right? If you don't understand anything, at such type of position, right? In situations, sorry, it should be situations over here. At such type of situations, you must take some time to keep reading, right? You must focus on reading something and the given task and try to understand it logically. So you need to emphasize on the task. If you do not understand it in one attempt, spend two, 3, 4. Even the 5 minute is okay to spend. If you would spend 5 minutes to understand it logically, of course you can cover this topic in the next 15 minutes very accurately. That's why it is necessary to understand. And some of the students actually rely on the other student who are just sitting along with them. They seek that we can get some information from the student who are sitting nearby me. So kindly do not attempt such kind of things. IDP and British Council both has security controlling system, so mistake they can catch in different ways. Although you can't understand their marking things, sorry, they are catching things, right? They catch cheats very easily. So don't do these kind of things. That moment you must have to work on your task with good understanding, right? Understand your task, then move to the next thing. So what I advise, best of my knowledge, for the students for better understanding. So as per my experience is concerned, as per like my experience is concerned, so like I would advise to all the candidates to read final Financial Times newspaper. Dear, if you are getting newspaper at your home, that's okay. Otherwise you can simply use your mobile phones. So just open a newspaper, any newspaper, open a finance page or business page or any magazine that you are interested, which relates especially to finance sector. So there you will see the graphs, right? So the language that you can learn from that newspaper, that is quite tough to learn somewhere else, and that is a more formal language. So the statistics that like which are presented and formed in the financial newspaper, that is hard and next to impossible to read somewhere else. So that will give you a chance for better understanding and more structures of new words. So moreover, you will get formal words which you may use in the graph if you would read it from the newspaper. So finally, we are ending up the day. So tomorrow we will discuss how to use grammatical structures to use to describe trends. So there are the many different structures of grammars that we can use for writing graph. So the structure, I'm just giving an example. Let's take an example. We are having the word there, be, adjective, noun, in plus noun phrase. So the example is there. So there, it is be, so it was past, so we use the word was. There was a gradual. Gradual is, it's an adjective. Rise, it's a noun. In the price of car, right? So this is a phrase, right? So there was a gradual rise in the price of cars. I'd teach you all this formation, and if you will change this formation, how you can write, there has been a sharp drop in the price of cars. There has been a sharp drop in the price of cars. So these are the structures that I will be teaching you for the next 4 days to write perfect writing task 1. And in my further videos I explain you how to write pie chart, table graph, line graph. I'll explain every graph with complete detail and information, right? So thanks a lot for watching IELTS Doctor, and that's all about for my today's sessions. And tomorrow we would come up with the new concepts of writing. And thank you so much for giving your precious time. So thanks a million. In today's video I took a lot of time because these are the few things that must be cleared at the day 1 before proceeding with the further things. However, in the next videos I won't be taking a lot of time. I'll try to finish in a shortcut, but again I'm telling you dear, shortcut is not the way to get a success. If you want to learn something, you need to spend your quality of time over it. But I will try my level best to lower down the class timing. And if you are okay with it, so please comment in the comment box, and please share your feedback with me. If you would like any personal guidance regarding of anything which relates to IELTS, please feel free to call me on 8840000781. You can also join me over here on WhatsApp. So we are having a IELTS group. So that's a IELTS Doctor English Club, right? So you can also join that. We regularly put update material over there. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Good luck for IELTS, dear all. God bless you. Manan, thank you so much, dear. Thanks a lot. Aradhya, thank you, dear. So are you people happy with my session? Please comment in the comment box. Thanks a lot, dear.